And unfortunately, I only had one day off during the week. And so I only worked on this on Wednesdays. So I worked while my kids were at school. And little by little, 6 years later, I persevered and was able to launch a company and be a CEO and a patented inventor by just picking at little by little progress on Wednesdays that I did for years.
What if you could reclaim hours of free time each week, create legacy building wealth, and devote more energy to your passion projects without giving up on your career as a life-saving MD? Dr. Vikram Raya is a functional cardiologist, high-performance coach, and real estate expert. Is here to give you the tools, strategies, and solutions you need to transform your life, unlock your limitless potential, and achieve greatness, all while freeing up your precious time. Welcome to Limitless MD. Let's dive in.
All right, my friends, welcome back to another episode of Limitless MD. I'm your host, Vikram Raya, and today I have a superstar. She's a client, she's a friend, she's an inspiration. Her name is Dr. Reyna Trevino. And Dr. Reyna is just absolutely wonderful in many aspects, but I really love the fact that she went from a pediatrician now to a starter of a medical startup, and she's an inventor. And on top of that, she's done real estate. She's become, well known in social media. And there's so many things she can bring to the table of that next level physician. So Reyna, welcome to the show. And I can't wait to dig in.
Thank you, Vic, for having me on the show. This is great to have this opportunity to be here and share this space with you. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, you're quite accomplished and you're doing a lot, but most physicians, they don't start that way. How did you start? What was your origin story?
Well, it started back a few years back when my kids were small. So I have 5 daughters, and so they were really little, and I found that it was unsatisfactory, the hours that I was working. And there has to be a better way to do things. But I tend to have a very curious mind, and for some reason, I saw that there was flaws in our products for little kids. So I decided to maybe pursue that as an interest. I do like to invent things, so I thought, well, what if someone invented a better nasal aspirator, for example? But I put that on the back burner and just went ahead with life. But then there was this nagging uh, pressure within myself to pursue this. And unfortunately, I only had one day off during the week. And so I only worked on this on Wednesdays. So I worked while my kids were at school. And little by little, 6 years later, I persevered and was able to launch a company and be a CEO and a patented inventor by just picking at little by little progress on Wednesdays that I did for years.
So let's unpack some of this. So uh, you had the idea 6 years ago?
Yes.
So it's 2024 when we're recording this. So that was 2018. The
Yes.
idea came to you, but a lot of ideas come to a lot of people. In fact, I'm guilty of this. I have $8 million ideas before I finish my shower and I come down. And so what's the difference between a lot of people saying, man, this is the next, Amazon or next big idea, and then it evaporates by lunch, while yours, not only did it stay, it made a little home, a habitat, it created like shelter, and eventually, instead of you inspiring the idea started inspiring you. Tell me about that.
It was a repetitive pain point that I saw parents have in my clinic. It just kept, the topic kept coming up. What do I use to help my baby breathe better at night? I'm not sleeping, doctor. Help me out. And it was over and over repetitively every day. Um, and I thought, that's it. I'm just going to be determined and fix this problem for people because it's just so common, and the products that we have out there are just unsatisfactory as far as hygiene and use. So it just
So when you had the idea, did you have an idea at that point? Did you have a business background, business degree? Did you know how about manufacturing, product sales, marketing, any of this?
No, absolutely not. All I knew was to be a doctor and to be a mom,
Mhm.
and that was daunting, but I wasn't fearful. I just thought, well, it'll when it's time, whatever needs to come to me to move forward, it'll come. So
Yeah.
I did a lot of reading and researching. Yeah.
So I don't mean to put you on the spot, but this is important to show people it's never too late. Was this early career, mid career, or late career you had this epiphany?
I would say it was mid-career. Uh,
Okay. So you've been
yeah.
practicing for how many years at this point?
Uh, well, at 18 years, I was practicing 18 years actually at that point. Been
Okay,
practicing.
so guys, this is not an intern becoming a new attending and having this brilliant idea and then running, to Wall Street or venture capital. This is a person who was in the trenches for 18 years and said, "Okay, enough is enough. I still think there's more in me and I can reinvent myself." And while you're inventing the invention, you ended up reinventing you. Is that true? Is that right?
Absolutely. It was transformative, where I was running marathons, and also starting social media, and uh, during the pandemic, got into real estate and just uh, just expanded my footprint in the real estate space in the short-term rentals type spaces. Um, and so I was like a renaissance, just us hunger to learn new things.
Okay, so this was I, I think I'm going to use your term here. This is a mid-career physician renaissance.
It is.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And did you feel like you needed to have permission to do this, or was this an inspiration, or did your husband or someone support you on this? Or how did this happen? Because it doesn't happen to everybody.
I feel like it was the pressures of uh, having one of my girls has special needs. So I felt like, well, I'd like to support her uh, into her adulthood. That was a big why, as well as just the empathy towards parents, new parents in specific. Um, and so I think that that was very important to me, in that when I was raising my girls, I didn't have a lot of support, and I would love to be that support uh, for other new parents. When I was a new parent, I had really nobody. So it was so just fuel to try to help others, as well as uh, have the freedom to take care of my daughter with special needs.
Yeah. So I'm hearing freedom. I'm hearing you care about your clients and your patients, and people go into business. Some people are entrepreneurs. They really love the skill and the act of business. Other people are artists and they're doing it for the love of the game, the passion. You seem to have a little bit of both. I think you enjoy business, don't get me wrong, but I think you genuinely enjoy who you're serving, how you're serving them, the field you're in, right? And why you chose this as your business realm. And so I think for those listening, choose if you're an entrepreneur, see if you're more of an artist. And if you're an artist and you don't have the business skill sets, maybe you need to marry that with someone who does. Or are you more of a hybrid, which is what Reyna is, where she learned the business skill sets, but her true north, her guiding, her compass is being guided by empathy and passion, her personal passion to help her girls, especially the one with special needs, and just provide financial freedom and support, and the empathy for all these parents who don't have a quality product when their kids are sick. So that's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let me get into a couple of things because people are hearing this are like, oh, it's easy for her. She was born with this, or she's very talented, and so it was not a big deal. What was some of the head trash you had to overcome to even start this venture? Or I'm assuming 6 years you've been working at this, and you said you just chipped away every Wednesday. You chipped away. What made you stay with it, and why did it take 6 years? And what were some of the challenges? And what about the challenges even starting? Let's go with some of that.
I think the challenges of starting is just is the product what I have in mind something people want, and is the market wanting something like this? And so there's a lot of self negative talk, like, oh, there's already so many aspirators out there. Everyone gets one when they're born. Why would I do this? Why would I approach this? The other one is, oh, I don't have enough money. I don't have to obtain a lawyer or pay an engineer team to help me construct my idea, um, as well as I don't have enough time. So those were a lot of different constraints that I had. Um, and so this is a very interesting story in that to validate the market. I live in Chicago, and I thought, well, who would be the perfect person to help me figure out how to validate if it's going to be a great product? And so, of course, I have the University of Chicago, the School of Business here called Booth, and so one of the best in the world. I just got the courage to just get on my laptop one night and send everyone in their entrepreneur forum an email to see who would help me. And I thought, well, I have nothing to lose, and they don't know me from anyone else, but I'm just going to send each and every one of these professors. And to my shock, all of them responded back to me. And one said, well, why don't you come pitch here at Booth? And I go, oh my goodness, I've never pitched before. What is that? What's pitching? What's that? And so I went down to the University of Chicago. I pitched for the first time, and I actually won. It was insane
All
because I
right.
just went with my empathy. It just they saw how passionate I was to help
Yeah.
parents.
Yeah. So guys, if you any of you are interested in entrepreneurship and things like that, there's a good book I recommend by Oren Klaff called Pitch Anything. It's really amazing. And then another thing is, I don't know if Reyna did this, but I know a lot of entrepreneurs learn by watching that good old show that we all know on TV called Shark Tank, and it's a good education. So maybe, watch some of the best episodes of who got, their pitches accepted, and maybe the ones that completely blew it, and learn from those extremes. And sometimes and I know this in sales and in investment and in persuasion, the most powerful tool you have as an entrepreneur who's trying to share your idea is conviction. And I think, to be honest with you, that's what sold those University of Chicago professors at Booth. My brother went to that business school, so I know that school very well. And this is not easy to do, guys. This is one of the top, if not the top business school. It probably trades hands with Stanford and Harvard and Wharton. Like, they all take turns, but this is a top tier business school. So for her to win this competition is really, really compelling.
I guess with that, it's somewhat an accidental entrepreneur. I stepped onto
Yeah.
that
So at
strong.
that stage, I'm going to call you out a little bit and say you were a wannapreneur, but you actually became a true, genuine, bona fide entrepreneur. And so a lot of people go from wannapreneur and they never actually make the jump to actually becoming an entrepreneur, actually having a team, actually having systems, business, scale, marketing. Help me understand, how long ago was that competition, and then what happened next?
So the competition was about 5 years ago, and what I won was the Booth students and professors do a marketing plan for me and
Hmm.
figure out all the pressures that could knock me out of the ring in the market with my product. They helped me with pricing, and just different options from licensing to going to mass retail, Amazon. So they made me a very large binder with all the facts and the analytics uh, to produce this product. And what ended up being is all the arrows point that it's a go, that this was needed in the market, and they were very pleased with this device. And so they've been very supportive even to this day.
That's awesome. So it's nice to get the validation and sort of the verification that, hey, this is needed. You can make money. The business plan is sound. So let's fast forward a little bit to what is the biggest pain in the butt in trying to get this company off the ground? What almost made you quit?
So hands down, it's working with manufacturers.
Hmm.
Uh, and so the reason being is they have not, I know there's manufacturers out there with excellent work ethic, but unfortunately the ones that I was recommended to, uh, I would be pushed off to the side because Johnson and Johnson needed an order or so and so needed an order. So I would be pushed at towards the end of the list. And I wasn't taken seriously, mostly because I didn't know the lingo and I didn't know really, I was pretty blind going into it. Although I did have an engineer, but even the engineer I had wasn't an astute working with the materials. I work with silicone, so they weren't really astute on how a design goes to mass manufacturing. So it was just, I think the people in manufacturing, it was extremely difficult. It's a male dominated field, and it was just, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, you know.
So just so the listeners can understand the frustrations you had to go through, sounds like you had a prototype, you're ready to go, you had to create, I guess, molds, and on the once the molds were acceptable, then they could create mass amounts from those molds. And the challenge was you. And what was the delay from you getting the manufacturing process started to finally getting your first shipment? How long did that take?
It took 4 years. It took 4 years.
4 years, guys. So being an entrepreneur can sometimes be a long and lonely road. A lot of people will tell you to quit. A lot of people will tell you, discourage you. Sometimes you'll want to quit. But what kept you going?
I think it was more the fact that I was so close, and then whatever they would do would not work. And but I knew that there was definitely a solution. I'm not an engineer, but just common sense that whatever they were doing, that why wouldn't it work? Let's just keep trying till we got to that. Um, so I think that that's it. It was like a gut feeling. I just had to keep trying.
Okay. Okay. And for those of the listening out there who have a project and they're working through it, what advice would you tell them if they're getting to the point where they're getting frustrated, whether they're in real estate, they have an online business, they want to buy other businesses, they want to scale their clinics, whatever they're trying to do, investments, and they're frustrated, they're hitting a point like, where it's like, man, this is worth it.
I think it's important to look inside and believe in yourself. Uh, I truly believe in manifestation and meditation. And so when I would meditate, I clearly saw that the product was complete and that I had a lot of happy clients, and I visualized this as something that I saw when I would meditate. And so I think to believe in yourself, that you have it within. Other people have done it. You're not the first one. Other people have done this also, and you can too.
So knowing that it's been done before, there's a pathway to sort of success, pathway to power. Success leaves clues, success leaves footprints. I think that sounds like that was fundamental. Number two was you use the, you know, mindfulness, meditation, and then manifestation, right? That's sometimes
Yeah.
people meditate, but the manifestation is taking it one step further. And for those of you who are not familiar with it, it's more of a concept of it's when you actually feel the feeling of the goal being accomplished before it is, and your body doesn't know the difference, your mind doesn't know the difference, you're actually in that state. And so then you keep acting according to that, that directive. And there's some quantum physics involved, there's other things involved, but a lot of the top performers that they do this. NASA astronauts visualize themselves doing successful extravehicular, things when they're out in outer space. And, Olympic athletes prior to them doing their run do VMR, visual motor rehearsal. So sounds like a lot of these things really helped sustain your momentum. Is that right, Reyna?
Absolutely, absolutely. And then also just having the support of an amazing husband. My husband Simon, he's been there along the way and super supportive, and I think and finding a community too with the Titans as well. I feel that's been extremely useful in getting this off the ground.
That's awesome. So what are the key ingredients for a startup like yours to be really successful? Sounds like you said you had to have an idea, you have to have a passion, you have to have interest. You seem to have gotten help from different categories of people. Who did you get help from along the way?
In addition to Booth, I also uh, had the great opportunity to join an incubator. It's a health incubator. So in these incubators, accelerators, they help tech companies with different resources, attorneys, engineers, contacts with um, big pharma, big tech. And so these advisors would you would just have on their office hours go and ask them questions, and they were available to you if you pitch and got into these accelerators. I think
Okay.
that it's a lot of
Yeah.
who, not how, a lot of
Right.
that.
Absolutely. And then I know you've had successful entrepreneurs who've mentored you. Obviously, you've been part of our limitless community. So all these different things provided some of the backbone you needed as you advance forward. So what are plans now? Where do you want to take this company? What are the visions you have? And what's next for you?
So then to take this company, so I have a one product company right now, and to take it to multiple levels of healthcare for babies, such as um, nasal congestion to skincare to um, just day-to-day life that people products that parents use for their kids to have series of different lines. Uh, it's just that there's no company out there that the CEO is a pediatrician or a doctor like that who really knows kids very well and not just business people. Um,
That's
and
awesome.
so
That's
so
awesome.
that's my goal.
What are the social media success has played a role, I think, in especially in the early launch of your products. Can you maybe, in a quick summary, how does a physician who has some interest in something go from zero followers on platforms to eventually what is your current count on? Is it on Instagram you have the most followers?
I think I have 65 on there, and then
65,000?
65,000, and TikTok close to 100. I think it's 100,000. So
Okay.
165,000
So let's talk
followers.
about that. How does one, first of all, think about this as a framework, and then what was your goal when you started, and how did you make this happen?
Well, the goal was to make awareness of the brand, knowing the product wasn't available, and then also just it was started as a whim just to learn. I knew I was going to make mistakes, and I did a lot of mistakes, a lot of silly videos when I first got started. My daughters were teenagers then at the time, and they were able to help me with that. And it was just something fun that I liked to do. And then it just massively grew into this ball that it is now, that it's growing, and then the gratitude that I get from parents thanking me for helping them with their kids and making a community where other parents can speak with others from other states in this country to other countries. It's amazing. It's just a wonderful platform.
And what are your advices for people trying to grow their viewership or their followers?
I would say consistency is key. Just show up,
How
even
often do you post?
I post daily. And so that I do with the help of a VA. So
Hmm.
she helps me post. And so we just find relevant material that parents like. Maybe I'll look at my fellow physicians and see what's trending, so I can speak towards it in my style of speaking. Um,
Okay, so you know your avatar. You've chosen a couple of platforms to focus on. You're consistent. You have a content calendar, and you have like some support, like a VA or someone, a
yeah,
family member who knows the platform a little bit, and then it's just about adding time to that equation. Is that right?
that's right. Yeah. Yeah,
That's
I like
awesome.
to batch. I do them all on Sunday afternoons. I do all
Okay.
my videos. I try to get them all done for the month if I can, if not 2 weeks ahead.
Okay. So I think that's the key, guys. There's no secret formula to being successful on these social media platforms. I think the key is consistency, which we all sometimes struggle with, including me personally. But if you make a commitment that hey, you don't worry about the output, you can't control the output, but you can control the input, and by focusing on the input and then also focusing on your tribe, your audience, your avatar, and just say, hey, what would they be interested in? And consistently giving them that, they'll reward you by following you. So fantastic.
Yeah, it's been rewarding. It's really fun.
What what are some surprising lessons you've learned along the way in your journey of entrepreneurship?
Oh, that not everyone is an A student that you work with. Um, we're used to be we're used to being driven people as physicians, and we tend to complete things to perfection because it affects human beings if we don't. And so working with people and finding that the work ethic is not there, I find that super surprising that you send emails and no one responds, or um, have meetings and and people don't show up and things like that. So
Got it.
I think it's
So the
truly
quality
surprising.
of the people you're around can vary, and so you're trying to find those A players.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's difficult to find them out there. And so you just like I've gone through so many social media teams, and just learning to fire people. That's a new thing for me.
Yeah, that is. Um, the old adage of, hire slowly, fire quickly, comes to mind. But yeah, I think sometimes we as physicians want to keep giving people the benefit of the doubt and we wait when they need to,
Yeah.
they're not meeting our criteria and they need to move on. The other thing is, we've talked about this sometimes, but having sort of a framework to hiring. And one of the things we like to use in our companies is sort of the 5 A's. And I think you'll resonate with this too, Reyna. It's the attitude. They have to have the right attitude, which you can't teach sometimes. Aptitude, they have to have the intelligence and then the capabilities to do the job. Ambition, you want someone who's has a mission in life and is striving for greatness. Appearance, they have to either look the part or they have to, if it's a remote job, then they have to, like, when they write their communication has to be professional. And then also you want someone authentic, not someone who's just trying to please or just trying to get by or just trying to be, teacher's pet, but you're someone who generally is who they are, who they say they are, and they're being just authentic. So fantastic. What are some, either give me one or two heroes that you look up to, and then maybe one or two books that are really helped you transform.
These are old school. They're just leaders of countries like Prime Minister Gillard of Australia, or Margaret Thatcher. These like women leaders that were back in the era where uh, it was not common to see women as leaders. I think that they're amazing people.
Yep.
Um,
And then give me a couple of books that have really, shifted your thinking or really helped you on your journey.
oh, it definitely Who Not How.
Okay.
That was amazing. And the book called The One Thing.
Yes.
It
So One Thing,
was-
guys, is by Gary Keller. Phenomenal book. One of the biggest books that really just give you just simple frameworks on how to think, how to prioritize, how to time block, things like that. And Who Not How by Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy really talks about, the tyranny of how, and we as physicians like, oh, how am I going to do this versus, hey, who do I get on my team to do this? And that simple shift of thinking, really accelerates growth. So good. That's amazing. So Reyna, what's the name of your company? How can people get a hold of this if people have young ones and they need to get the product, or if they want to just keep track of your success and all the growth you're having? What's the name of the company and how can they follow you?
It's Dr. Rose's Baby, and you could reach me on my website, Dr. spelled Dr. rosesbaby.com, or my handle on Instagram or TikTok, which is Dr. spelled out Roses Baby, and you'll see me there dancing, singing, making memes to us, all kinds of things.
That's awesome. That's awesome, guys. Learn more from her if you can. She's just an amazing person, and I can't wait to see where she goes with the success of her company and probably multiple companies down the road. And she's been an inspiration in the tribe, in our Limitless group, and she's really a person that reaches out and helps other physicians who are looking for that next level of growth. So please reach out to her, follow her on Instagram, check out our website, and all of this will be in the show notes. Thank you, Reyna. Thank you so much for being such a powerful inspiration for us.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
All right, guys. Until next time, thanks again for supporting the podcast and the YouTube channel. Looking forward to seeing you guys in the near future. Until next time, be phenomenal.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Limitless MD. If you found value from this episode, I encourage you to share this episode with a friend and let me know by leaving a review. For more information, make sure you check out the links in the show notes below or simply visit vikramraya.com. Until next time, be phenomenal.